Okay, so welcome everybody. We are here with the elite medalists from the the Medavie Canadian 5K Championships, which occurred in September and was hosted in Moncton, although we had to, as I said, run it virtually. And so with us today, we have Leslie Sexton, Julianne Staehli, and Briana Scott. So we're going to just ask them a few questions about their race and about what's coming up for them next. And hopefully you enjoy. So let's start with question one. So from your perspectives, what are the benefits and drawbacks of doing a virtual race, I guess? And is there anything that you think you really like gained from that experience and maybe perhaps marathon training or running by yourself? Anyway, Leslie, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I guess one of the benefits this year was like actually getting to do this race. Yeah, I guess to be honest, it may, like if it had been held in person, it maybe wouldn't really fit with the marathon training for me. And plus, like the travel logistics of traveling from one side of the country to the other, being able to actually do this in my hometown made it a lot more feasible. So that was kind of a positive, and I was really happy to have the opportunity. Yeah, I guess the drawback can be just lack of competition. You need to be able to push yourself running alone, and not have that competitive boost from racing someone else. I think it is a valuable experience to be able to push yourself when you're on your own, or like I was lucky enough to have some pacers helping me out, which was really nice. Because yeah, like especially longer races, you're going to have some stretches where you might be running alone, and you just have to stay focused and work through it. So yeah, it's a positive thing for both training and racing.
Julianne, anything to add there?
I would say the positive to it is not having to travel too far. So after a whole summer of racing and going all over the world, I think it's nice to just be able to go out your door and have some family and some friends just to kind of make it fun. But the drawback, definitely, I'm a racer. I want to compete. I want to be on the start line with other women. And I think the virtual is just more of a, sort of workout type, time trial against yourself. So I love racing, and I would never substitute that for a virtual.
Yeah, I guess echoing what everyone said, great to have the opportunity to race, in, so to speak. The setup that I had, our coach, Rich Lee, found a really nice flat out and back for us, and he biked with us and had it timed in a way that the two guys were chasing me, and so they caught me with 400 meters to go, which, I mean, they flew by me, but it allowed for a fun final last kick. And just to keep it a bit more exciting, just having people out there with you. But yeah, the drawback, it's so fun to compete against other ladies, for sure.
Yeah, and all three of you, I guess, are national champions this year, I think, right? Briana on the track for the 10K.
I came second.
Second? I'm sorry. I apologize.
I wish. No.
I apologize. But anyway, top medalists in national championships this year. So I'm glad that at least we can get back to some elite level of competition, even though we may not be totally back to mass racing yet. Although I think we're getting there. And we've already sort of talked about it, but in terms of like strategizing how you can run your fastest time, is there anything that you did in that regard? Like, I know a lot of people who are looking, I know we made it so you had to run an out and back, but there were people I know in the mass race who didn't have that qualifier, who were trying to find like the steepest downhill and all this kind of stuff to just bomb down. But was there anything that you were specifically looking for to try and make it like a fast experience / time trial? Leslie?
Oh yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah. For me, it was just it was just like looking for a fast course, something as flat as possible. And yeah, I think even if we hadn't had the restriction of like it needs to be out and back, like I still like it to be a meaningful performance that I can measure against other things, other workouts and other races. So yeah, it's good for it to be as accurate as possible, just so for me, like I know where I'm at and I can get a good fitness check in. But yeah, I chose the Glen Valley course that's a little bit east of Vancouver, which Natasha Wodak has used for a bunch of like time trials and workouts and races. So yeah, that was super flat, low traffic. And yeah, like just aim to run as even splits as possible and like what the shape I thought I was in, and pick it up a little bit at the end.
And so just to follow up, did you find this kind of helped you building in towards the 10K, which you won the Canadian in the Canadian elite field in impressive fashion? Did you find this kind of this effort help you engage where you were in that build?
It was a really big confidence boost, yeah, because I'd actually spent only about, I think, 5 or 6 weeks in Vancouver, and yeah, after the move and like getting used to running in a new place, the training was tough, to be honest, and I kind of felt like it was kicking my ass and I wasn't in great shape. So to be able to go out and do that after some rest, yeah, I was feeling really confident again, and was able to take that into my next bunch of workouts, focusing towards the marathon and the 10K, and know I had a fast 5K under my belt, and then there was room to get even fitter from there. So yeah, I was super happy with it.
That's awesome. Julianne, I guess same question. Was there anything that special that went into your planning for this race, or did you just try and dodge cows and luck now?
Yeah, exactly. No, it's Leslie. Like just coming off the summer, I took a lot of downtime, and I took my downtime seriously. So I think sometimes I like to not sabotage it a little bit, but I definitely don't taper going into these. And I was just sort of coming off a week of base and a couple workouts. So one of my good friends, she agreed that morning just to come out on the bike, just because I knew we had to have a segment that was video taped, I guess. So anyways, it was fun. It was pretty flat. It wasn't bad. Was it my peak shape or fitness? No, but I think it is just nice to know where you are relative to where you used to be. And I think now that I can run under 16 kind of comfortably, it is exciting. And I hope for an in-person opportunity soon.
And Briana, I know you did that like pursuit or predator style, but was there any, I think you ran on the same course as Leslie, am I right?
Yeah, so I guess just it's good to have a good gauge of where you're at fitness wise. We kind of had a nice summer of kind of building up to it, and it was fun to look forward to something, but not take it too seriously, but just also have that race and have the team out there supporting each other, which is great.
Yeah, that's awesome. And okay, so let's move along to our next question. So I guess some people, unfortunately, are still kind of being forced to do these virtual races. Hopefully we're moving away from those. I know there's been a lot of massive or bigger in-person races, but there's still people who are competing virtually. So do you have any advice to them who are kind of struggling to find that motivation, or just trying to run it fast by themselves virtually? Perhaps Leslie, we can start with you again.
Yeah, I think, and I guess that was my reality for the past year until I got to run the Toronto Champs. I was in Ontario and had to deal with various lockdowns and all that. So yeah, I got used to running solo time trials or with a couple training partners. And yeah, like for me, I always tried to treat it mentally as it's like same as I was lining up for a real race against other people. Even though like it's not the same experience, to be fair, but yeah, like I would put on the same singlet I would wear to a race. I would do my same warm up and put on the fast shoes and all that stuff. And yeah, just like I think enjoy it and have some gratitude for the opportunities and what you are actually able to do. I think for like I always considered myself lucky that the sport I chose can be done with relatively few like modifications or restrictions. It's the simplicity of getting out and running hard. Even though we weren't able to attend in-person races, there's still something like pure and fun about that. So yeah, I just tried to focus on like the positives, what I got to do as opposed to what I was missing out on. And just use it as an opportunity to test your fitness and push yourself.
Awesome. Brianna, or sorry, Julianne, I guess if we keep going in order. Anything, just any advice for runners like me?
No, I think Leslie kind of went over. I feel like at this point, like it's been so long, like that we've kind of been in this sort of weird in between stage of like in person, but still restrictions and stuff as well. So I think just being fortunate, like being grateful that you have opportunities when they do come up and making the most of them as well. I think like that's just, you never know when the next race is going to be, or like, you know, what shape you're in, or if training's been going well, just to capitalize on those opportunities and see what you can do. But I guess there's no fear. And, you know, when you have a virtual race, you're just kind of out there against yourself too. So it could be fun.
Great. And Brianna, maybe because you've had to go last, I'm going to flip the question around on you. And I'm going to say, as now that we've kind of returned to in-person racing, do you have any advice for people who are kind of going back to the start line for the first time? I know it's a very different experience than it was pre-pandemic. And I found, at least for me, that I had a few flat races my first, like back to in-person racing. So do you have any advice for them on that front? Like how to kind of get ready for this, either the new reality, but also like returning back to something they haven't done in a while?
Yeah, I think with these virtual races, you get to pick your course, pick the time of day, you wake up at home, and with these other races, you might have to travel to it, you're eating different food, there might be a time zone difference, and I think just kind of don't go in with an expectation that you're going to smash your first race and the first time in 2 years. You don't know what to expect, and just be grateful for the opportunity to be out there and racing other people. And I think there's always a sense of accomplishment when you finish a race, whether it's good or bad. So really just soak up that experience. Yeah.
Great. All right. So we're on to our last question. And that is, what's next? I know that we're a little bit after the race now. So we've already had the Canadian 10K champs. And as I said, Leslie had a very impressive run there. So I guess what's next? Leslie, you're running Philadelphia, is that right?
Yeah, Philadelphia is in 3 weeks as of today, actually.
Awesome.
So yeah, I just finished one of my last long runs right before I came on here. And yeah, the season kind of worked out really well with the timing, like having the 5K champs. The way the timing worked, the 10K champs were like 5 or 6 weeks later, depending on when you did the virtual race, and then another 5 weeks to Philly. So yeah, it's been different ranges in distances. So maybe not what I would normally do within a marathon build, but like I guess I've said, and like other people have said on this call, it's just about like taking advantage of the opportunities you have and that come up and making the most of those. So it's been a fun build, like fun to do something a little bit different and working a little more speed than usual.
And do you have something, I know Philadelphia is probably your main point of focus right now, but do you have something on the docket for next year? I know there's a lot coming up. There's Commonwealths, Worlds. Is there something you're kind of shooting for, or maybe hoping to use your Philadelphia time for?
Yeah, like I'm hoping to hit the standard for Worlds in Eugene, which is 2:29:30.
Mm-hmm.
So the racing schedule next year will very much depend on how Philly goes. Yeah. I think I'd love to hit that standard in one attempt, and maybe race some halves and some 10Ks over the spring, and then hopefully build up towards Eugene. But yeah, if I need another shot at it, then I'll run another marathon in the spring. So I haven't made any decisions, and I won't until after the race goes, and then we see how qualification's looking.
Mm-hmm. That's great. We will all be pulling for you. So
thank you.
So Julianne, you moved to Boston. Indoors is probably next up. So what's going on?
Yep. Kind of big training block. Right now is kind of the highest mileage that we're doing. So we're just putting in a lot of good quality B+ workouts, nothing special, just kind of building. And I might throw in a little road 5K in November. We'll see. But other than that, it'll just be kind of base until December, and then we'll be up at altitude beginning of the year, January. And I would say Grand Prix Melrose, whatever kind of is coming in February, do some indoor races. I have some goals, kind of 1,500 to 5K. And then, like Leslie, World's obviously the focus. World indoors, World outdoors, just kind of working on standard and to see what we can do leading into the summer.
And World Indoors is still scheduled to be in China, right? Is it?
No.
No?
I believe Serbia.
Okay.
It has changed numerous times though, but still March.
Yeah.
So hopefully
Okay.
that goes.
Great. If knock on wood, it hopefully will, but yeah. And then Briana, what's going on?
Yeah, I think I'm still in a phase now where I'm trying to figure out what is my best distance, where I'm at. I'm kind of newer to the kind of this running scene. So I'm still in this kind of base phase right now, putting in some good mileage and figuring out what's next. I don't have a next race on the calendar just yet, but I'm sure something will come up this fall or early winter. Yeah.
That's awesome. So just maybe I'll ask you a follow-up then is you've kind of risen from, I believe you were a mile to marathon athlete, right? Is that the case?
Yeah, I dropped into mile to marathon a few years ago and had a great time. I was coached by Rob Watson for a few years. And then this past spring, switched over to BC Endurance Project and coached by Rich Lee, and had my first track season this past spring. It was awesome, great experience, all local in Vancouver. And then, yeah, so kind of still testing the waters in different distances and figuring out where I'm at. Yeah.
That's awesome. So, and Mark's joining us just in time for you to ask about your money. Anyway, but so maybe just one more follow-up. What's kind of your PB progression been then in the last 3 years, if you don't mind just asking?
Yeah, my first 5K on the track, Dylan Wykes paced me or chased the pace through one of the mile to marathon runs, and I ran 18:10. And then this past spring, I ran 15:46.
Wow.
So it's been a pretty fun ride so far. So I'm hoping to keep on that trajectory, but it's been really fun to be a part of a group now that has just a lot of support and a good group of people.
That's awesome. Hi, everybody. Stephen and Mark here. Just thank you for joining us again for the Canadian 5K Championship sponsored by Medavie. It was great to have you run virtually with us and join us for online for the elite race and following along with that. And it was great to have you. We'd just like to thank some of our sponsors and supporters. First off, Athletics Canada, who provided some prizes for us and allowed us to host this great event in Moncton. And of course, will continue to support us as we move forward to hosting in person next year.
And of course, thank you, Stephen. And of course, Course NB, Run NB, along in partnership with Athletics New Brunswick. So essentially, all of the New Brunswick running community together in support of us hosting this event. Alors, merci, Course Nouveau-Brunswick, Athlétisme Nouveau-Brunswick, pour le support que vous avez à faire pour qu'on puisse vous présenter justement ce 5 km virtuel. Par la suite, bien sûr, on juste un peu plus à propos de Medavie, cette grande société canadienne, this Canadian wide organization that actually provides services to 1 in 12 Canadians in the health services, whether it be through its Blue Cross, various insurance plans, or through its ambulance system, through the Medavie Health Services and many others. So, Medavie, merci grandement. Bien sûr, votre support a permis justement à attirer plusieurs coureurs, je devrais dire, many runners from across the country to participate in this event and certainly help us re-engage people with running and certainly put on their agenda to be here in person next year for a 2022 version.
And of course, we'd be remiss not to mention our elite race sponsors, National Bank, Banque Nationale, and Alex and Lily Shoe Shop. Both of these companies made it possible for us to host an amazing elite race with a great depth of prize money and provide elite athletes who in this pandemic may have been struggling to get a foothold, to fund their athletic dreams. And so these companies really stepped forward and allowed us to provide a race that was valuable and help the well-being of elite athletes in Canada.
Alors, juste pour répéter, merci Banque Nationale et Alex and Lee Shoes and Swimwear pour tout le travail et le support, bien sûr, pour avoir commandité les courses élites hommes dans le cas de la Banque nationale et femmes dans le cas de Alex and Lee's Shoes and Swimwear. Merci.
Finally, we'd like to thank the local sponsors who really stepped in and were also great support to us. Laplace, Uni Financial, Doyle Corporate Image, Yankee Sportswear, Olivier Soap, and Benchmark Consulting. Each of these small businesses and local businesses are great supporters for our event, and we invite you to come when you come to Moncton next year to look more into these great partners we have.
Oui, bien sûr. Merci, Steven. Et bien sûr, La Place, André Savoie, merci. Uni Coopération Financière, compagnie dans le monde de la finance ici au Nouveau-Brunswick et de plus en plus à travers le Canada. Door Corporate Image de Moncton. Yankee, qui a justement offert plein de Yankees qui sont dans les prix. Olivier, la savonnerie Olivier, qui fait des produits ici au Nouveau-Brunswick, made here in New Brunswick, all of the soaps. I hope many of you get to try them out, especially next year when you come. And Benchmark Investment Consulting, thank you for all of those 6. Alors, merci à tous ces 6 additionnels pour votre support lors de ce 5 km.
So thank you again for joining us, and we hope to see you in Moncton in 2022.
Absolument. On espère tous vous voir et on les salutations, bien sûr, non seulement de Steven Anderson, moi-même, Marc Lalonde, mais aussi de Mary Brossman, la présidente du conseil d'administration. On espère de tout vous voir et tenez-vous aux écoutes. Stay in touch. We will be sending out some more information about what this could look like in person for real here next year in Moncton, New Brunswick. Look forward to seeing you. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you all.